be saying that like constantly, sorry y'all.
We're now for real live.
Mazel tov.
Just gonna get Chad up real quick.
Who's Chad?
You know. Okay. So, as a reminder, last session, what did happen last session? Let's see. Was last session the Kenda? Did we have Kenda? Okay. So last session, Ren had a conversation with a clothed Kenda that, went a little into the, ideas of how people are thinking about Ander, as well as a pretty good roll on perception that led to some skin change, noticing that happened. And also Call and Henry went to the guard hall in the almost middle of the city. Spoke with Captain Ryan and got some names of guards to speak with, as well as the closest thing they had to a lead, which was just the name of a tavern, the Half a Mug. They, after getting that lead and the list of guards who were present at the execution, went back and found Ren, and all decided to change into some somewhat disguises before traveling to the Half a Mug. We have not gotten there yet. I don't actually think we've left yet from the courtyard. Originally, Ren was not going to get disguised, but now Ren is going to get disguised.
What's Ren doing? What's Ren
It'll
wearing?
It'll be very brief. So, yeah. Whenever Ren stops by his room, it's a very short trip. All he's gonna do is take off one layer. He usually wears kind of some kind of layers, a nice shirt and then a vest or a jacket or something like that. He's just gonna have the plain shirt on, and he's gonna put his hair up and just a bun, kind of a nice one to keep it off his neck and everything like that, and that's pretty much it. And he's gonna go back out and wait at the courtyard for the others.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Henry puts a vest on. Ren takes a vest off. They're both wearing buns. I love
time to look casual,
One more thing for the recap. We also were maybe gonna talk to see if we could find Rana, the little useless mage, little tiny useless mage.
The dwarf who has devoted their life to the study of the arcane arts and just happened to have some bad rolls and has now been deemed useless. Even though...
You called her that repeatedly.
She is the reason you weren't stabbed repeatedly by guards. All I'm saying. Yeah, so the three of you meet back up in the courtyard with your various disguises.
Okay. Ren wants to point out to Henry. So Half a Mug is the tavern that we passed by, yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And somebody made eye contact with me and saw us and went back inside. I remember that distinctly. So especially the two of us don't want to get caught. Ren looks at Call for a second because Call did their hair differently. And it's interesting. And we've had braid trains and everything like that. So Ren's just gonna kind of brush Call's hair back behind their ear a little bit and say, "You look nice." And then turn back to Henry and say, "So I think we should change our hair color or something like that. I can do that and we can just I think it'll do a lot for disguise material."
Inside check on Call right now. Fuck. God. It's only a 9. God damn it.
With a 9, Call looks surprised with a 9. Call looks surprised.
So Henry watches, follows Ren's hand as he's doing that, and kind of keeps looking at Call while Ren finishes his sentence, and then is like, "Yes, I am being spoken to. I need to respond." And looks back at Ren and goes, "I remember that. That was the guy who I think we waved to, right?" And then he just...
You did wave to him, yes.
And I was like, all right, not everybody wants to interact. I mean, luckily we weren't, I wasn't wearing my armor. We didn't have anything on us that was, hey, we're working for Ander. So that's good. But I do think you think it would be more or less suspicious if we tried to change our appearance a lot as compared to just changing our clothes?
I don't think this would look out of the ordinary. Well, what do you think? That's a really good point, actually.
Because if they do recognize us and we've changed our hair color and made major changes to our appearance, then that might seem suspicious. But as compared to if we don't do that and we just change our, we changed our hairstyles, we changed our outfits, like that.
So if they recognize us anyway, at all.
Yeah, then at least it's not suspicious. But if we change our hair color, then they just might not recognize us at all. So I don't know which one's the better move.
Well, are you sure that there was no sign that you were working for Ander yesterday?
And
there's no sign, right? I don't have anything.
If you weren't wearing your armor, then I mean, unless you were wearing some bright Storguard green intentionally, then it's not a bright color. It's a dark green. Unless you were wearing Storguard green intentionally, then there wouldn't have been anything to give it away. And honestly, even if you were wearing Storguard green, it's a fairly common color in Storguard.
Yeah, I think Henry's gonna say, I don't remember what my outfit was, but I definitely didn't have any sort of sigil or badge or anything. My badge is my armor, and I wasn't wearing that. And it's possible I was wearing green, but nothing that was standard issue green. Just hey, I could have bought this scarf from any random stall, and it could have been green. So I don't know. What do you think we should do?
I think you make a good point. I think less alterations, less suspicious. So I think we're ready to go.
All right.
Ren just used less incorrectly. I need to retcon that right now. Fewer alterations, less suspicious. I can't love Ren anymore if he gets less wrong.
I'll love Ren for you. Get fucked.
We love Ren. You're the one who did it incorrectly, had incorrect grammar.
Yes, I will take the blame. Okay, anyway. So
You're canceled, but Ren is still good.
I was canceled to begin with, guys. All right.
Ren and Stannis Baratheon are the best of friends. Stannis Baratheon's like greatest redeeming quality is the 3 times in the show where he corrects someone from saying less to fewer.
Completely agreed. The thing is, I was muttering it under my breath with him, so yeah. Okay, we good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
All right. Traveling through the city, as per the usual, I need everybody to give me a perception check.
25.
Mod 20.
I'm doing something important.
By important, they mean punning. Or, I guess referencing a song. Yeah.
Perception?
Yes, perception.
11.
Okay, so yeah, mod 20, 25, and 11. Okay. Where are they?
Hey guys, did you see my ring?
Look, you can see your ring with that orientation.
Oh my god. You have a ring now?
You're wearing a ring?
Oh my god, you have fireball?
Is it on your left hand?
It's on my left hand, yeah.
It's not like the camera
Is it on your
it's your
ring finger?
It's on your ring finger?
Yeah, it's on my fucking ring finger. Yeah.
Is it a purity ring?
God, I hope not. Y'all are silly.
It's a real concern when you're in Christian circles. There's been conversations.
I think the Christian circles would have more to be concerned about with me than just that. So, how we doing, guys? Moving along?
We're moving along.
I'm trying to help you, Ben.
Oh man. Call as you're traveling. That is a high enough roll to feel like someone's watching you. You don't catch sight of anything, but you feel like something is watching you. Something or someone.
Okay. Call is going to just strike up a very casual conversation about, like, truly nothing that matters. Going to just talk about, like, you know, things that have been going on in, like, the market square recently, and just a story about a friend of theirs that doesn't involve any names or, like, identifying details, just like a conversation a friend of mine and I had, kind of a thing. Just very casual conversation. And is going to, like, maintain that kind of stream of chatter. So if Ren or Henry decide that they're gonna, like, slacken that, Call's just gonna keep talking.
Yeah. No, Ren's, like, doing, like, you know, questions and stuff, like, oh yeah, like, keep going with, like, the thing, so just
and then what happened?
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's how I talk to my cat.
So we talked to Addie.
Is that not the idea? I thought that was the idea.
Henry, okay. Henry also, I think, catches the drift and also talks.
You mean y'all were able to force Henry to talk? What?
I know, right?
Okay.
These 3 friends are friending on their way to do things? They're just being friends?
They're friending on their way to get lunch like friends? With their friends?
Brunch bunch.
Brunch bunch, brunch bunch.
Continuing on. So you make your way through the Noble District, and then you cut across the corner of the trade district and are now entering into the industrial district. Henry and Ren, as they said, have been to this place before, so know exactly where they're going. It's not far into the district. As you approach, you can, as you're kind of coming in on your left, you can see some kind of a wide variety of different smokestack looking buildings that do anything from temper steel wood to forge iron to, even forging and crafting other metals as well. There is a very large iron trade in Storgard, so most of them are, in fact, refining iron in one way or another. And then a few of them also let off this kind of slightly green tinted smoke that because all of you grew up in the area, happens when none of you grew up in the area, but you have all lived in this city for a period of time, and therefore know. Sorry, two of you were born in different countries. Never mind. You have been here long enough to know that this green tinted smoke is what happens when steel wood is being hardened in fire. Or not hardened, but like treated in fire. But yeah, so you see that off to your left. To your right, you just see lots of very similar looking buildings, especially a little bit further away from you. In that direction is that district of mostly rent homes where it is owned by some of the nobles, but it's rented housing for all of the different workers, mostly here in the industrial district. Something about just about everyone you see in the streets here, they are all filthy. Some of them just dirty in the ways of kind of street living type thing, where it just looks like they haven't bathed in a very, very long time. But mostly people are covered in coal dust, iron shavings, and just soot of all manners. Because that's what happens in the area. Also, the normally gray cobbled streets are almost black because just heavy layers of coal dust that isn't swept from the street every day. As you approach the tavern,
wait.
Yes.
Does everyone notice all of those things?
Yes.
I think as we're kind of in the industrial district, I think Henry's gonna say, like, quietly, do we look too clean?
Call's just gonna kind of brush off that comment a little bit in a like, it's fine, just roll with it kind of gesture, not in like, shut up, I'm ignoring you kind of thing.
Yeah, I think Henry understands, like, okay, I probably should be asking this where people might be able to hear us.
I will add on to that. Most people are dirty like that. There are a few people, almost all of these people are with wagons of some kind, because you are still off of the main road, which there's a giant main road that crosses through the city, which at that cross is where the execution happened. But the tavern is just off of that main road in the industrial district. So there are lots of people on carts that are very heavily laden with steelwood, iron, metals, other trade goods. for the most part, minerals of some kind. The people on those carts who also like to drink alcohol are not dirty because they don't work in this area. They are just traveling through, possibly to the established warehouses a bit further into this district. But yeah, so y'all, like, it's not like everyone is dirty and the three of you are clean. There's other people as well who don't spend every day of their life in this district and are therefore not covered in the grime of working in it. So as you approach the tavern, it looks actually a little bit... So it's actually about on par with the other buildings as far as like structurally sound, which these are industrial buildings for craftsmanship. So for the most part, very soundly built. One of the biggest things that makes it stand out is that it doesn't have a smokestack on top of it. It has a very small chimney on one side there is wood smoke coming out of. It's a much whiter, grayer smoke than the black smoke coming out of most of the other stacks. And the sign in front, once again, says half a mug, and it has a like tankard of ale that looks like it was cut in half, and it's actually half full of ale. That is the logo for it. And what do? You don't notice anyone on the outside of the building this time.
Then we go ahead and walk in.
Yeah.
All right. As you enter, it is kind of bustling. There's most of the tables are full. There's honestly most of the seats are taken, even for lunchtime, which it is, about lunch hour, and you're in a work district. So if everybody's off for their lunch hour, then you go to the tavern. So it is pretty well populated in here. You see a wide variety of people. As per usual, most of the males in the establishment are not human, or half elf, or elf even, which there's not many elves at all in the city. But as you know, the men of working age have, for the most part, all been drafted. The human men, that is. There's still plenty of dwarves, gnomes, halflings, some goblins in this tavern particularly. You do see something a little uncommon, as I have noted before, in that the man at the bar of the tavern is a half-orc. He has a little apron on that looks way too small for him. Very, very big half-orc. He has a little towel thrown over his shoulder and a second one in his hand that he is using to polish the table in front of him. Well, intermittently polishing because there's lots of people asking for drinks along the bar, as well as shouting out from the tables. What do you do?
Ryan, how cute the half-orc is. I want to draw that.
Same. I guess first look around to see if there are any available tables.
Give me a perception check.
That was a nat 20.
All right. You are able to notice Immediately as you walk in the door, you notice a group from a table starting to move about as if they're about to get up from the table, and are able to guide your party members to the table before anyone can even notice that it's going to be empty, and y'all sit down at the table just as the other group stands and leaves.
Flawless. Because, always have your nat 20s on just completely outside rolls.
Hey, it's useful, we have to find somewhere to sit.
Hey, it's harder to be inconspicuous when you're just standing in the middle of the tavern waiting for a table to open.
Yeah.
True.
Can I make a perception check to see if, we came here because it seems like there might be a gathering of some sort of suspicious folks, some sort of underground meeting place. Can I make a perception check to see if anybody's grouping together or being secretive or?
Yeah, sure.
Would that be perception or insight?
I think that would be insight.
That is a 12.
There's on a 12. There's certainly no group large enough to be crowding a table. None of the tables have more people than there are chairs at them. And it doesn't look like anybody's tried to drag extra chairs over it to any tables or anything. You at the best you can tell, if that kind of meeting is happening, there's 4 or less of them meeting.
Okay.
Fewer.
4 or fewer, yes. If I can open. All right. What do you plan to do?
Ren will just kind of look around inconspicuously just to see what he sees,
Just real quick, did y'all settle on yes, change hair color, or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I guess in my same insight check, is the homie that we saw here the other night, is he here?
You do not see him.
Okay.
Okay. So
sorry, what did you ask?
No, you're good. I was gonna see if Ren can roll just to see what he sees, just looking around.
Just general perception. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry if I cut you off. Did not realize.
No, you're good. That's a 6.
Yeah, there's lots of people in here. To be honest, not even Ren is doing a bad job of looking around. There's a lot of people in here. It is hustling and bustling. People moving around, going to the bar and coming back to their tables. You're really not getting a beat on anything out of the ordinary or suspicious.
We live in a time, because my brain is just where's everyone's masks? This isn't COVID safe.
I know! When we sat down immediately after a table stood up, or people stood up, I was like, do we have to wait for them to sanitize the table first? That's literally what I was thinking.
We live in times. We live in
a time.
We live in a time.
Oof. Okay.
All right. Call is going to also do what Ren was doing and just see what they see before they decide to go up and get a drink.
Call did get a nat 20 earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have that count for this roll, but I am going to give you advantage because you did get a good clock of the room immediately when you came in. So go ahead and make your perception with advantage.
That is a solid bargain. I respect that. Okay, so that would be a 27.
27. Okay. Why do I ever let you have advantage on perception?
Actually, that was the first roll I did, so I would have rolled that anyway.
Whatever. Fuck. I'm just going to start listing off some people of note that you see.
Okay.
For the most part, what you're seeing are people, as I said, covered in dirt and grime, or really not that much dirt. For the most part, it's coal, like it's black, primarily around the hands and arms and on the chest. So as I said when y'all first came in, there's a half orc at the counter. That is a good enough perception that you notice. So he's treating most people as customers and going on. He's being a little more friendly with two people sitting at the bar, kind of in the corner. Like the bar goes all the way to the wall, and they're sitting like against the wall at the bar. One of them, give me my description. One of them is a half-elf like yourself, and she looks fully adult. Certainly not young, or not a child anymore. Fully an adult. But with half-elves, it is often a little hard to exactly pinpoint their age, depending on how much they take after their elven parent. But she is the one like actually against the wall, and has just like all sorts and manners of different things on the bar in front of her, which you would think a barkeeper would be like, hey, get this shit off of my table. But the half orc seems to be paying these two a little bit special attention, and kind of, they're either like very good regulars, or maybe he knows them further than just them being his customers. But she just has shit all across the bar that she keeps fitting together and working with, holding stuff up to the light, just constantly tinkering. Next to her,
what kind of shit?
Clockwork shit, metal. You notice a couple pieces of steel wood. It's not all clockwork, but it is all tinkery type things, minerals and the like, refined in some way or another. She's fitting these pieces together, holding them up, working with them, and setting some things in motion. It honestly looks a little crazy. Next to her is a person who it is way harder to determine any kind of gender, and their skin at some times seems a little translucent, and their hair, although it's actually a little bit stifling in this room because there's not a lot of airflow. This person's hair is constantly moving as if it's being blown by a light breeze. They have a super lithe, skinny body. Like there is like no ounce of any of fat on them at all. And they're wearing kind of like a halter top that goes further down on the left side and actually connects to their bottoms, which are pretty short shorts. And they have a quarterstaff slung across their back. So you see those two. And you got a 27, right? You also notice a black human woman just like on the opposite side of the bar from y'all, who is not staring at y'all, but with a 27, you are able to pick up that she is looking at you, keeping tabs on you. Also at her table are a couple of larger looking dwarven men. Not tall, but like stocky, which, I mean, most dwarves are stocky, but these especially so. They do have, the dwarves are, sorry, the dwarves are covered in the coal dust, but they're eating a little more casually than a lot of people.
Sound cut out.
Am I gone? Why did I leave? Why would that happen? Hello. What the fuck?
Did something get unplugged, or?
Okay.
Did it die?
Oh, there it is.
You're good?
Okay.
It just full on. Okay. Gave me the first little sound notification that it needed battery. I plugged it in and it turned off. Okay, where was it?
It's covered in coal dust.
Yes. So everybody else is, most of the people that, especially those, covered in this coal dust, are kind of eating quickly, like, I got to get back to work type thing. They're a little more casual, and they're deeply engaged with conversation with this woman across the room. So yeah, that's what you see.
Where is the human woman in relationship to the half-elf? Like, in the, span of the room? Like, are they kind of near each other, far away?
Okay. Y'all are in the southeast corner of the tavern. The bar is on the northwest side. The half-elf is, like, all the way against the western wall. A human woman is in the northeast corner, which the east wall is like all booths. The north wall is the bar, and then the rest of it is just like freestanding tables.
Roger that.
Why do you look so
I
uncomfortable?
didn't follow any of that. I was trying really hard to conceptualize it, and I'm just...
East side booths, east wall booths,
okay.
North wall bar.
Okay.
The rest of the floor space is freestanding tables.
We are in the southeast
corner. So y'all are at a booth in the southeast corner.
Okay. And the
human woman is the half elf is at the bar all the way to the west side.
Okay. And where's the woman? The human woman?
Northeast corner, also at a booth.
Thank you.
Y'all kind of form a triangle in this square room.
Okay. Is it time to get up and get a drink and perhaps investigate what these people on the north side of the room are talking about?
Yeah.
Should we have somebody hold the table?
Yeah.
And fend people off? Okay.
I mean, Henry speaks Dwarvish and Orcish and Elvish. don't know.
And Call has high perception, so Ren should stay at the table. He's good for sitting there.
Henry is itching to say thank you in Orcish to the barkeep.
All right.
We go up to get drinks.
I think Henry asks what Ren wants.
Cider.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cute. Yeah. Cool. Should we make perception checks for being at the bar?
First,
what we hear?
So the bar is a little busy, and there are like seats at the bar. Are you trying to go closer to the elf and flowy person, or the half elf and flowy person, or to the human woman?
I think the half.
Because I'm gonna say that the room is much too loud. That like if you try to go in between, you're not gonna hear either. And if you try to just go next to one, you're certainly not gonna hear the other.
Closer. I think Call's gonna veer closer to the half elf, but still go like 2 seats away, so it's not like they're trying to be like right next to her.
Okay.
I'm that Call.
You're just with Call? Okay. The half-orc is pretty busy getting other drinks, but finally does look up and notice you. Well, go ahead. While he's getting other drinks, make a perception check for me. Both of you.
15.
5. Okay. After standing there for just a little bit, Call, you hear the half-elven woman string together a mixture of common and elvish, all curse words. And you look over and see that 2 of the pieces they were fitting together just kind of seemed to be unmade. Like they were like all of the things in front of them are vary in size from like the size of like a single nut to like larger, like almost a clock. They fit together 2 of the mid-sized pieces, and they just kind of disintegrated into nuts and bolts. And small, flat pieces of metal. And they're cursing for a very long time. The flowy person puts a hand on their shoulder and is trying to get them to trying to get her to calm down, and it does not seem to be working. But finally, the half-orc does see the 2 of you, comes over and leaves one rag on the table with the other still over his shoulder, and so it comes up to you, the 2 of you, and says, "Oh, all right, what can I get you?"
Can we have 3 ciders, please?
Cider, yeah. Just a second. He reaches under the bar and pulls out 3 tankards, sets them down in front of you, and then turns and kind of digs through a stack of bottles, which, like, for a second, you're like, those are all going to come falling down. Like, they're just kind of loosely piled together. You're like, if he grabs one, like, he's like digging like 3 or 4 levels down on this stack of glass bottles all laying on their side. And you're like, if he takes one of those out, they're all coming down. You get like really worried for a second, and then he just pulls it out. They shift once, and with kind of a loud, discordant clang, and then nothing. They all sit perfectly as they are.
I think Call just straight up whistles appreciatively, just being like, "Damn, okay, skills."
I think Henry goes, "Ooh."
As he's walking over, he holds the bottle to his mouth and hooks the cork of the bottle onto one of his tusks and yanks the cork out, and then very quickly fills all 3 tankards and slides them towards you, and says, "All right, that'll be silver and a half."
All right.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
just curious.
That's fairly cheap liquor.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Henry pays for it, and says thank you in Orcish.
Ooh. How does it? Give me an insight check real quick.
Nat 20.
Okay. He does a pretty good job of hiding it, but you're still able to pick up that he looks at you a little distrustingly.
Oh God.
Pockets the money that you gave him and goes to the other side of the bar.
Great.
Also,
with
a nat 20 insight, a couple of people sitting, like the people that y'all kind of had to come between to order, also give you weird looks for speaking in Orcish.
Did I overhear anything that the half elf and flowy person are talking about?
I mean, it's still a stream of curses.
Great.
And on your perception checks when you came up, it was low enough that you don't hear anything new.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of calling them a flowy person, I'm just going to say it's an air genasi.
Thank you. Yes, we go back to the table.
Yep.
All right.
Keeping our ears open and doing just a little bit of casual conversation.
Call's passive perception is 25, and also you have already clocked this person. So the other side of the bar is as close to that human woman as the half-orc could get. And by the time y'all get to your table and start keeping an eye out, you realize that they're having a brief exchange.
Who? Sorry?
The half-orc and the human woman.
Okay.
Gotcha.
They're having a brief exchange, and he gestures at Henry.
God, I'm just so helpful, doing so much good for this covert op. I'm doing a great job.
Henry is doing his best.
It's not good enough.
Henry's doing his best.
Why does Henry get invited to spy things? He is the opposite of spy.
Cole was a little bit worried about that part, but was like, we're gonna make the best of it.
Henry's not gonna say anything about it, but he's like really like, oh man, that was probably fucking dumb. I forgot we're in Katugar and everybody is racist.
Well, at that point, I think Call is gonna sit down with the drinks and kind of keep up like a low thrum of conversation. Less to be like not exactly trying to hear people so much as trying to like kind of keep an eye on people in their periphery. And like we'll let like use lulls in conversation to start listening. But basically, Call is trying to make it very subtle that they're trying to listen.
Okay. I think that this will be a passive perception thing. Just kind of sitting and listening. First of all, are y'all? How quickly are y'all drinking?
Pretty slow. Just very relaxed.
Call's gonna go at like a more moderate pace. Just so Call's gonna go at a more moderate pace, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to be sitting there slowly nursing a drink, but they're also not.
Well, Henry's a dwarf and dwarven constitution, so he is drinking this pretty fast, also feeling kind of embarrassed. So I think he takes a big old chug right when they sit down, but then kind of is more slowly drinking.
Okay. As time goes on, when y'all will be finishing your drinks, I'm going to have y'all make Constitution saves. 3 fails will mean that you get drunk. We're kind of just going to go death saves here. Henry, as you said, I mean, drunk, alcohol poisoning type thing. Henry, you're going to have advantage on these saving throws because you are immune to poison.
Resistant to poison.
Are you not?
Immune to disease. Immune to disease, resistant to poison. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're gonna have you'll have advantage on these saving throws when we make them, but we're not making them yet.
Yeah. The +3 aura of protection, +3 on saving throws. Does everybody get that?
Yeah, they will get that. But cool. As I said, not making the throws just yet. Okay. Excuse me. Call, as you're sitting there just kind of listening in on the people around you. Most people are not being quiet at all. You hear people just talking shit about their jobs. You hear people complaining. It's not all negative. There's some people, telling jokes and laughing and such, but for the most part, it's like, yeah, I've been working late every day, that type of thing. You do hear one of them talk about like, well, I mean, at least the pay's good, and everyone at the table kind of begrudgingly agrees, and then they continue on. You certainly don't hear anything, and also keeping in account that you speak Thieves' Cant, don't hear anything along those lines. It all seems pretty innocuous. That being said, I think that by the time y'all got here, it was a little bit late in the lunch hour. So y'all from the sounds of it, y'all aren't drinking super quickly. So about the time I would say Call is finishing their drink, a lot of the patrons are starting to clear out, heading back to their work. It never goes dead, or it hasn't gone dead at least. It's still fairly busy, but you're starting to notice a few tables open up, and it's getting much quieter. There's no longer like people standing at the bar. It seems like everybody can at the very least find a seat, and as I say, some of the, especially in the like open freestanding tables, those are starting to clear up a little bit. Yes.
We're supposed to be eating lunch here. Are there menus about?
There is kind of a chalkboard above all of the precariously stacked bottles and the kegs behind the bar. There is a chalkboard that lists a few food items on it, as well as it also has prices for drinks that like don't make a lot of sense. Like the words used to describe the drinks are like, it's in measurements, and you don't recognize any of the measurements.
It what?
So it's like, for this much liquor, for a measurement that you don't recognize of liquor, it's a silver piece. For this much of it does list cider, but it's measurements that you don't recognize.
Maybe that's a code.
You do see a cider amount for 5 copper. it gives you a little bit of a frame of reference, because like that's what you got. You got 3 mugs of this, so 5 copper of that cider must mean this amount of cider, and it's confusing, but you're starting to translate it a little bit.
I think after the first, so we sit down with our drinks. After the first person stands up to leave because they're done, I think Henry. So before Call finishes their drink, I think Henry's like, "Oh, what do y'all want to eat?" And try to like get that rolling so we're not ordering super late.
I think Call's gonna also start investigating the menu. And I'll also say, I can go up and order food when I get my next drink.
Nice, thank you.
Speaking of which, Henry and Call make a Constitution saving throw. Ren is drinking a little slower than the 2 of you.
Remember to add +3, Brown.
+3?
Because of Henry's aura.
Mm-hmm. Oh. 15.
22.
Okay.
Did we both pass? Well, I mean, Henry passed. Okay.
It's your first drink. As you drink, the DC will raise. And I'm looking for 3 fails will mean that you're drunk. I will say, almost every item on the menu is half something. So like it'll be like half a sandwich and a half a bowl of soup, that type of thing. There's lots of halves going on.
Half a mug.
Oh.
Half orc.
Half elf.
Oh. Cool. So I guess we all decide what we want to eat, and Call goes and orders.
All right. Once again, it takes about the same amount of time for the half orc to get to you as it did the previous time, even though there's a lot less people at the bar. But finally, he does come over this time, kind of circling with the rag as he comes towards you, cleaning. And he gives a nod and says, "Another round of the ciders, or?"
Actually, yes, please. And I would like to order some food, actually.
Sure, yeah. Basically everything on the menu is 5 copper for the food, on the food side of things.
Okay. So Call's gonna go ahead and order and pay.
All right. So Ren is still working on their previous drink, so it'll be 2 silver and 5 copper.
Okay.
And how much was the original round? It was a silver.
1 silver, 5 copper.
Okay, thank you.
Where on the bar do you approach? Are you trying to get close to the half elf and the Air Genasi or the human woman, or are you just trying to not?
Since this one, it's a little calmer now. I think at this point, Call's actually going to go a little bit closer to the human woman side, but a little further back than they were with the half-elf. So this is going to be like 3, maybe 4 beats away. 4 beats. 4 beats away.
Right. Give me a perception check.
13.
So the two dwarven men are still at the table with her. At this point, you hear them thanking her kind of repeatedly, and kind of loudly. But she is speaking relatively quietly, and you can't make out what she says.
Okay. If they're thanking her kind of loudly, I think Call's gonna do that kind of thing where they kind of, kind of half glance over, going like, "Oh, people are talking about loud things," and then go back to what they were doing. Can I do a quick perception check on, like, I understand it'll be like a quick glance, but
Make a perception check with disadvantage.
disadvantage. Fuck. Okay. These dice are hot and cold. They almost never roll in the middle, so we'll see how it goes. Huh. Well, at disadvantage, that would actually be a 19.
All right. That beats her sleight of hand. You see, she is pulling a pouch that looks remarkably like the coin pouch off of the table as you look over.
Okay. Okay. Call is going to just kind of internalize that information and, okay. Passive perception would know the answer to this question. Is this the kind of place where the half-orc would bring us food, or do we wait at the bar and then take the food to the table?
There is one other employee of the bar who has been bringing food out.
Okay, so Call can go back to the table.
There's a little gnomish woman who somehow has not been knocked over in all of this, standing a good 2'2", running around with trays of food, somehow has not been hit, seems to be an expert at avoiding it.
In that case, Call's gonna head back to the table with the drinks.
Alrighty. Anything I'll do as you wait for your food?
Probably just keep up, small talk, just small conversation, and while like keeping around like a passive, kind of just passively watching everybody.
Yep.
Kind of like, we're new here and we're curious kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We haven't decided where, we haven't said out loud where everyone is sitting in relation to the orientation of the room. So I think, how far into the room was our table? Was it like center of the room, closer to the south wall?
Y'all are at the southernmost booth. So y'all are on the east wall and the southernmost booth. So like in the corner.
So we are in the corner. Okay, in that case, Call is definitely positioned in the corner, because Call has the highest, like, passive perception and everything like that. And which also means that Call's got line of sight to everybody. And I have just remembered that Call can read lips.
Call can read lips. Fuck me.
Call can read lips.
So I will say the Genasi and half-elf do have their backs to you.
Yes.
But the human woman is facing you. Okay. Well, shit then. I guess give me a perception check.
Okay. That was a nat 20, my guy.
Yes!
Also, Call would not have forgotten that Call can read lips during the course of this conversation.
True. This is true, and because you got a nat 20, I'll give you a little bit of what was going on before.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
So you did spot that the half-orc talked to the human woman. It's a nat 20. I'm not going to fuck with you on it. He was just expressing concern that the first interaction he had with this dwarf, he spoke Orcish to him, to which she responded like, I mean, you are half-orc, is it a big deal? And he said, well, normally people who come in here and, comment on my heritage before saying anything else, don't have good things to say about it. That type of thing. So he very much comes off as suspicious of Henry. She, to him, does not say anything that makes it seem like she is suspicious of Henry, more suspicious of Henry after that encounter. While she was talking to the two dwarven men, she was not doing much of the talking. She was doing lots of listening. But there was a little bit of assurance given. At one point, she says, "Trust me, we can handle this. This is what the Light Hands do." And then gives them a price of 15 gold, which you assume is what they handed over when you looked over. And honestly, that's about it. That's about what she says from the time that y'all come in. And as y'all are waiting for your food, not very long, the two dwarven men do get up from the table and head out.
Light Hands? Is that what you said?
The Light Hands.
I like that, because that could have a few different, meanings.
I did not know you had a tattoo on your shoulder. I like it.
Oh, yeah. That's a lotus tile, because I watched Avatar Last Airbender as a child.
That's some nerd shit.
Do you want to hear my favorite joke that I made about this?
Yes.
It's my favorite. So, do y'all remember that episode with I think it was with the pirates, where Iroh was like, we can't do anything until I get a replacement lotus tile.
And it's in his sleeve the whole time?
Yeah, and then he was like, it was up my sleeve the whole time. And then I poked Jenny's tattoo and was like, it was up your sleeve the whole time. And Jenny just had that, sir, are you aware that you're a cat expression? And Jenny was like, it was up my sleeve the whole time.
That's wonderful, and I love it.
That's amazing.
Shit. I reward nat 20s. So you do also get the half-orc talks to the half-elf and the Air Genasi, and is full. So, I mean, being able to read lips and watching the half-orc some, it's business as usual with most of the customers. But then with these two, he cracks jokes and talks to them. He asks a lot of questions to the half elf about okay, well, what's that one? Okay, and what's this do? And pointing at the different little things that she has in front of her. And you never get any sense that she is upset with answering the questions. You obviously cannot see her face to know what she's saying in response, but She never acts agitated, and you know that she is at least somewhat prone to acting agitated after the stream of curse words after something went wrong. All right. Shortly thereafter, the little gnomish woman, and I say little because she is small even for a gnome, comes up with this tray held over her head, just kind of darting around people's legs, never going through legs because the tray wouldn't fit between someone's legs, but like just darting around people. And then arrives at the table, kind of hops a little bit and slides it onto the table and says, "Yeah, loves," and then just kind of turns on her heel and darts through the people.
Can we just stay here forever? Everything is adorable. Henry definitely says, "Thank you." Like, thank you. I guess she's,
she just like waves as she's.
We eat.
It's good. It's like, it's good.
Nice.
Excellent.
Ren's probably finished his drink by now.
Give me that Constitution saving throw.
+3.
+3. And let me just triple check because I get cool bonuses. That's a nat 20.
Ren feels fine. Ren sobers up slightly after finishing their drink.
I know that actually makes sense because Ren has anxiety, and after drinking a little bit, you become more of a regular person.
More of a regular person?
I get more anxious when I drink, okay? I get paranoid. Like, they can tell that I've been drinking. I know they can. I know they can.
The people at this bar can tell I've been drinking.
No, seriously, that's how I get when I drink. So I don't drink. So.
That's fair.
I rapidly stopped giving a shit about what people think when I drink.
I get smiley and warm when I drink.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so I mean the meal goes without a hitch. Nobody approaches you or anything. I will say, as y'all are eating, it's clearing out even more. Like, there's still a fair number of people in here, but it's starting to get to the point where, like, if you raised your voice slightly, you could probably get the attention of the half-orc.
Does anybody approach? What's the human woman doing right now after the dwarves leave?
The human woman is still sitting at that booth. She has pulled out a little sketch pad, notebook, something, and is writing in it. Or drawing in it. You're not sure. As she is facing you, so therefore you cannot see it.
I think Henry finishes his second drink as we're eating.
Go ahead and give me another Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Oh, yeah, same. Kala is also finishing their second drink.
That's 21.
Call rolled. That's not the final stat, but Call rolled a 2. So let's just say they failed that DC.
That they did.
So Call's probably gonna call it quits. Because with a 2, that's enough for Call to know. Call's like, I'm done.
Call like turns their head a little too fast and goes, "Oh no."
exactly. So Call's like, all right, that's it for today.
For the midday meal. Let's.
Yeah. So, and I think with that, in order to avoid suspicion, it is probably best to go ahead and hit the road. So we paid up front for everything, so we can honestly just stand up and leave. So Call's gonna give like one last passing like visual sweep of the room as they get up.
Give me one more perception check.
Okay. That is a mod 20.
Okay. As you're kind of like, organizing the table a little bit as y'all get ready to get up, you hear a crackling sound followed by a pretty loud pop and a flash of light from in front of the half elf.
Okay. I think Call's gonna glance over there real quick.
They are holding, orb is the wrong word, but almost spherical looking machine, best you can tell, that is floating lightly off of their palm, glowing slightly orange. And the half-orc seems really excited. The Ergenazi is now standing in their chair, like squatted down, standing in their chair. Ash knows that as the Marisha pose. Just kind of still watching, doesn't look super excited. The half-orc looks really excited. But the half-elf is still kind of like bent over, grabbing something else off of the table and slowly fitting it into this object.
Ergenazi is bisexual. Got it.
All right, I think we are gonna head out.
Alrighty.
I think we keep up the same kind of casual conversation on the way back as well. And then go to the Dozens barracks.
I think Call's gonna kind of take a roundabout route. Back, so a little more circuitous, so yeah.
Okay. So there is actually you have to pass through two gates to get into the courtyard, which the barracks is in. When are you trying to be circuitous? From where you are to the first gate to this gate is like to the noble district, or between that gate and the one to the inner keep?
Second one.
Okay.
Because, they look nice enough that it wouldn't make sense for them to be wandering through the industrial district. It would be too obvious that they're kind of trying to throw someone off. But in the noble district at that point, it could be much more likely that they're, well-to-do students or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's much more reasonable for them to be meandering through that part of town.
And just as I am going to be renaming the districts. For now, they're just named as they are utilitarianly. I'm going to give them actual.
Yeah.
At some point. Well, I guess if you're going to be putting effort into not having someone follow you, I have to decide if that's survival or...
And can we make perception checks? Can we make perception checks to see if anybody's following us?
You can, yes, I'll make perception checks, and Call is the one who said meandering route, so make a survival check for me.
13 on perception.
14.
Perception is 22. Survival is 15.
Okay. Perception is 22. While still in the industrial district, you notice someone following you kind of to the edge of the district that you do not recognize as even being in the tavern. It's a pretty tall dwarf man, about 5'1", just a little bit taller than Henry, who also isn't bearing the coal stains as most of the people are, but you do spot them kind of poorly trying to hide behind things as they keep track of you. However, they do not follow you out of the industrial district.
So if Carl knows that they're not following us outside of the industrial district, Carl's probably going to take a less circuitous route back through the next section. You know, just in case there's someone that Carl didn't see, but, also assuming that, that was the only one.
All right. You return to the somebody said the barracks. Are y'all going back to the Douglas barracks? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you do once you get there?
I think the first thing Carl's gonna do is fix the way they part their hair, because it's always a very weird sensation when your hair is parted the wrong way, and it is imminently distracting. So I think that's the first thing Carl does. Who all's in the room?
You need
Jax.
to ask that more frequently.
Jax is still laid up. It's the middle of the day, but Dirk is fully unconscious on his bed. Y'all didn't mention coming in quietly, but so I would assume y'all make some noise coming in, and he does not move. He is as if dead on his bed. You don't see Pim or Andy though.
Okay. Not gonna make anyone roleplay this or retcon anything, but did Jax make any comments when Carl was putting on their disguise?
Jax always makes comments.
Okay, we gotta know. What did Jax say?
Jax definitely poked fun at doing your hair a different way. As far as the innocuous kind of poking fun at the clothes, but also not being, I don't know how to do words right now. It feels like a very half-hearted poking of fun because he kind of thinks that you look nice, and also understands the job of being slightly, dressing differently to be a little more inconspicuous. So he's like he knows what you're doing already, and it kind of like when you already know what someone's doing, it kind of just like deflates your drive to poke fun. So he does mock the hair, definitely, and then like, man, you wearing clothes, and then just like shakes his head at it himself.
Wonderful. Thank you for this. Okay. Well, in that case, Call's probably going to sit down on the side of their bed and start putting their earrings back in and go, okay, so light hands?
I mean, so assuming that we all said everything that we noticed first.
Actually, we know we probably haven't because we were taking a circuitous route back and keeping up casual conversation. So in that case, Call is going to say, "So I was reading that lady across the bar's lips," and is going to say that like it looked like there was a deal going down, etc., and communicates the like, trust me, we can handle this. This is what the light hands do. And how like the dwarves were thanking her, etc. Call is also going to communicate to Henry that the half orc felt uncomfortable with the race comments, but it was because of other people historically being dicks and racists, and not because of Henry specifically. So Call is going to communicate that.
Henry like visibly like looks relieved and is like, but also still a little troubled. He's like, I noticed that he felt uncomfortable when I said it, and I felt really bad, and I'm glad. I'm upset that people are jerks to him about it, but I kind of want to go back.
Glad
and
it wasn't
nice.
specifically because of you.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and like pointedly be nice and normal to him. But I won't, because I know that this is an important tavern. Yeah.
Love that.
So do we think that we could go back tomorrow night for drinks? No?
Call immediately is going to shake their head and be like, that is too soon. If we go back at all, we need to go back presumably around midday again, but a couple of days later. If we go back, we look too nice, and at this point they'll recognize us if we come back again. We can't be seen showing up in the industrial district that often, looking the way that we do. Like, it's one thing to be, friends going out for a little bit of adventure in a part of town they're not freely used to. And then deciding, oh, the food's pretty good, maybe we should go back again. But that still wouldn't be the next day.
Okay. And I think Ren didn't notice shit that whole time, so he's just like, I'm listening to everything you guys saw. Interesting.
Nice. All right. What time is it?
Y'all had a bit of a late lunch. I would say, did y'all like get your food and book it, or did you eat your food and book it, or did you stick around for a little bit? Like, did you leisurely eat? Is a better way to put that.
that kind of phrasing. I think they weren't dragging it out, I think, especially because they had a drink to start with prior to lunch, that just dragging it out even longer would seem weirder. So I think they ate a little faster than they would have if they had gotten their meal first.
I would say that it's probably pushing 2:30. I would say y'all probably got there roughly 1-ish, and then about an hour drinking and eating, and then it would take you close to a half hour to walk all the way back. Especially with the circuitous routing.
Which I love that so far no one's questioned Call about. Everyone's just kind of like, okay.
Call is the spy. We are some guys. We're just some guys.
We are some guys.
That is true. It's Call the non-binary and they're guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call and they're magical guys.
That's adorable.
And I love that, like, oh yeah, Call doesn't have magic, but Call is like the most skilled one, is always like leading everything. Call is the Captain America.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Y'all are silly.
I'm sorry. Now I'm stuck in the quotes chat.
Oh no.
It's a great place to be.
It's a great place to be.
Ren functions by teenager logic. He lies like a slimy little lawyer.
I forgot about that.
Ren doesn't seem fine. Whole party gasps.
Pier gives Call a shiny rock. Ren, you take 17 damage.
That was a good one. That
was
so good. The little role play. Ah, yes, my raven goes and finds a shiny thing. Yeah, a poison knife hits you in the chest.
And that's what we call comedic timing.
Comedic knifing.
Family also beats each other's asses. Call.
If you're watching at home, this is a fun place to be. You should stick around.
We should probably stop going into this, but I could keep going in this chat.
Okay, no, where are we? We're in the barracks.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the barracks.
Okay, we're in the barracks. And so we've just debriefed. I mean, just the fact that, like, we might have gotten a name like the Light Hands, that's something to look into. Do we really have enough to report to Zerka?
I definitely wouldn't say reporting to Zerka, but I do think that is enough to go back to the guards about and see what we can get from there. They may have more information about... They may have more information about it. They might not. Either way, they may have resources about it. Maybe it's something they've heard of in the past and didn't have any kind of connection to. But, you know, they've already been looking into it for a while, and the guards have a wider network than we do. I think it's worthwhile to just partner with them as much as possible.
Okay.
Also, I wonder, Depending on the tenure of the group, there might be some kind of record about them, in the library. I know they're not as established as like a guild or anything, and it's entirely possible that that is just a dead fucking end because maybe they only emerged 5 years ago. But maybe if there are any travelogues or any kind of history of even abductions or escapes in like Storgard history, it might be a good place to check. Couldn't hurt, at least.
I think we should talk to the guards first, because
Yeah.
if the guards say, no, we've never heard of them, that could mean that they're innocuous, or it could mean that they're super secret. But if it's like a super secret group and then we go and ask a librarian and then someone overhears, like it could be, I don't know. I feel like if we have more context, it'll be good.
Also, I'm not sure that we would find many records along those lines in the library. We could check, but we might have to check with somebody else who might have more on that.
Can y'all tell Call wants to go to the library?
We should go to the library then.
We should just go to the library to see Orin and get books.
Call is never going to suggest that.
I think if we're saying this, I'm assuming that all of our characters are kind of talking along the same lines as what we're doing right now. And when Ren says, "Oh, well, there probably wouldn't be any logs," does Call look noticeably pouty at all about not going to the library? No, okay.
No.
I mean, Ren did say, like, we could still check.
We could just
Call
go to
is
the
not about
library.
to make like a deal about wanting to go to the library. Also, Call did not say that Call wants to go to the library.
Yeah.
So
I think Henry says, I mean, we could just go to the library. Because now Henry's thinking about wanting to go to the library.
Call's not gonna respond to that.
Alright, should we go to the guards?
I think so. Ren, are you gonna join us, or?
Yes, I would like to.
Wonderful. Call gives a big sunny smile.
I think Henry looks down at his outfit and goes, I'm gonna change back into more normal clothes.
That is a good idea.
So Henry puts on more regular attire, and then he also takes out the hair that's like covering his bun, so that like his hair is kind of half down, half up with his braid knot thing.
Ren's really just wearing his regular stuff, just a little bit more casual. He might just like take his hair down and put it back like it is usually. Wearing one less layer than usual. Ren looks really casual right now.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
We love that for him.
Okay, going to see the
Guys,
guards.
I'm really, really tired.
Totally fair.
Next Friday?
Next Friday.
Next Friday's good. Oh, no. Next Friday's not good. Arcadian Wild, Jenny.
Fuck, yeah. Okay, Arcadian Wild. So next Thursday, Saturday?
That works, I think.
Yeah.
Thursday?
Thursday, okay.
Thursday.
Alright, next Thursday we will rejoin, and I will hopefully be a little bit more prepared than I was for this session. But
no, you're fine.
You're totally fine, my dude.
Thank you for saying that, and I do appreciate it. It just makes me more comfortable when I am more prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, I am constantly worried that I'm doing a bad job, but that's not the prevalent worry with not being prepared. It's just I feel more comfortable when I am prepared. Yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream.
Okay.
I was using